Welcome back to the morning show. We're now on Table Talk, and today we're going to be discussing women in business, but through the lens of Mary Muriuki, who is joining us as the Director, Central Kenya, and Director, Gender National Chairperson, Women in Business. Did I say it right? Because it's a big title.
No, not really. Stop looking at the title. We will go straight into looking at the work.
The title has to be identified because it's a big feat. Since 1965, we've not had a woman hold that position. You've done quite a lot. But before we celebrate how shiny the title looks, let's get to know who Mary Muthoni Muriuki is.
Mary Muthoni is a woman, passionate, quite good attitude, focus on the ball, eyes on the ball.
At what point did you develop that eye on the ball, eagle eye kind of focus?
I think quite from when I was literally a very young girl, because I look back, and this is the time I realized, you mean I was very different even from my siblings. I could articulate issues even with my parents. I could question things, and I could ensure that things are done. And that's where I come in, because one particular person who is very passionate about things being done and being done the right way, to perfection. Yes.
When you're looking at your journey as a young girl, coming up into the world, looking at where you fit in, the moment you're out of high school, you're always looking for a position that you can call your own. How did you find that world of economy was what you felt comfortable in?
Number one, I started out as a teacher. I taught for 10 years. And at some point, I had given myself a period that doing things again and again, one thing again and again, it will never give you different results. So you must always go for a challenging thing, you know. And having taught for 10 years, that means I had done
what you needed to do then.
Yes, I had done what I needed to do then, and I needed to move up. I needed to move on, you know. And that's when I quit my job and I went into business. I set up my school in Embu, St. Petrock Primary School, and well, we also have other companies with my family that do other businesses, construction, HR. At that juncture, you get the drive and the challenge that, you know what, you're in a different field, you must make it, because you're bent to make it, and you're made to make it.
Even as sorry, you can finish your point.
And having grown with that kind of an attitude, I just had to do what a woman got to do. And what a woman got to do is to ensure that the attitude is right and you go for what you want. If you sit down and wait for things to happen, they'll never happen.
We'll discuss a little bit more about the position of women when you're looking at the world of economy and what you are intent on doing to ensure that that space is expanded for women. But looking still back at your story, by the time you went into business, what are some of the challenges you faced when you're getting yourself off the ground from teaching into business? It can come naturally, especially if you have family members who are in it. But if you were in a different career altogether, there are mistakes that you make along the way to get yourself off the ground. What are some of those for you?
One of the key things I felt was really a challenge was stereotyping. And everybody from family to friends. In fact, everybody could ask me, why is it not your husband who is resigning to go into business, you know? And they could not understand. And I kept telling them, this is not about us. It's about me first. It's about my decision. It's about my choices that is going to influence whoever is around me. So if I have something that I need done, then I have to first believe in it before I even influence my family. And number two, I also faced what everybody faces, financial blockages. You want to do something, even right now, I'm still growing into that. You want to do something, you want to do it perfectly, but you cannot reach there. You go to the banks, they want your collateral, they want your car logbook, they want everything from you, you know. And also the social expectation, really, it's part of stereotyping is part of that. But the social expectation for the woman is very high, but also different from the views of the outsiders.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just like we have said when we were chatting, it's only the person who is seated, who watches people dancing on the floor, who gets to know who is making the right moves and the wrong moves. But when you're on the dance floor, you know,
you can only do what you
can only do what you can do, and expect maybe a few comments from the people who are seated or from the judges.
Yeah.
Yes.
At what point did you feel, fine, I'm in this, I'm in business, I want to create change beyond myself because I've found my footing, my family is in the business, we're holding each other's hands, I want to move on so that I can be able to strengthen women out there. Tell us about you joining the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce at the very bottom, even as you're moving up to rally other women to come.
Yes, yes. At first, I felt in that era of moment, I needed to get to connect and to get to a platform that really has a lot of network, and credible network. And when I shopped around, I realized the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is one strong brand that has people who, if we partnered together, if we made shared ideas and also used the same platform to network, it's a great platform. And I moved in and paid up for my membership and joined the Women Wing. And when I realized the Women Wing is one platform that they had just created at that time, I picked up the challenge with the then chairperson, Women in Business, and I acted as membership liaison person. And I felt the women, the way I was feeling at that particular time, it cuts across the board. The issues of women in this world, they cut across the board.
What are some of the unique aspects that represent women in business? How unique are we when you walk into the economic front?
Sorry?
As women, how unique are we in our strengths when we walk into the economic front?
Oh, I'm telling you, women have great ideas. They are innovators. They are business people. They are people who will do anything and everything to perfection. But we only need to move a little steps further. That we need to wake up from the comfort zone so that we realize the dreams. We need to wake up from the comfort zone so that even whatever we are doing can be seen and, you know, and recognized. When there are bilaterals in this country, I always keep saying, we cannot wait to be invited to the table. We have to prove why we need to be at the table. You know, if we look at the 2/3 gender rule that failed to go through, really, we cannot stay there and keep crying. We need to prove ourselves. That is why we need to improve the quality of education that we have. We need to go back to school. We need to ensure that our skills are perfect. We need to ensure that our social norms are accepted. You know, we need to break the ceiling through the cultural barriers. You know, we need to do an inclusive fit out there. Both men and women, we do not fight men, and even in women in business. Because that's
another conversation that we wanted to get into a little bit later.
We don't fight men. In fact, we have created a men in business in our sector because we have realized this is not about women, it's about the society. So we have to have a whole societal congregation and really reach out to every part and every corner and every case on touching on the economy for us to move on.
So that we can be able to exploit our potential on the economic front.
Absolutely.
That means you were able to, at some point, look at the women at the National Chamber and say, we need to pull our voices together. How hard was it for you to get women to work together so that we deal away with this stereotype that we are our own enemies? How did you manage to rally the women to stand together?
Women are not their own enemies. That is something I have never believed in. You are your own enemy, not to another woman, but yourself. Because when you allow envy to conquer your brains, when you allow other vices to conquer you, then you're destroying yourself. You may not destroy another person. There are people who focus, eyes on the ball, as I said, and you leave side shoes. We put up sectors that will put women in similar factor. They have similar factors, similar sectors. If they are women in agribusiness, we have a sector for
So there are different sectors
land,
that support women who want to get into business.
That support women.
Yeah.
And we encourage them. The rallying call is one. Ensure that you benefit from one another. Before you even sell out of this country, you must believe in your country. So you must sell home before you sell outside, you know. And that unity has really helped us to move forward. Then we also create equipping of skills for the woman, which does not necessarily mean it must be an economic skill, or they could be personal skills, you know. And we have a consortium of trainers who are doing quite well in this. And sometimes they will even do it on pro bono basis, because it's part and parcel. It becomes part and parcel of you. And when you sit in a group of 10 women, it's also part of mentoring. Most women are coming up to mentor the younger ones, and we have to make everybody realize that where you are right now, you must not wait to be there when you're 80 years. There are other girls, young girls and young men and women, let me call them young men and women, who also would need to be here. In 2-3 years, I'm not sure I want to be chairperson women in business, because there are others who may do better. So I must leave so that I can
create space for them.
Create space for them. If we only understand that, then we will work towards always perfecting where we are at that particular moment, and moving forward to create space for others, and also to go and create change.
Even as we're looking at the perfect rallying call, the strategies that have been put in place, the fact that you're always out to strengthen women in business. Yes, you've told them, before you sell out, look at strengthening the market from within. But the business environment in Kenya has its own perspective to women who take on business. How are you dealing with that ghost, in a sense? Because dealing with the business environment is fighting ghosts that are taking on women in the negative.
I'll still go back to what needs to be done before we call it an issue. Number one, the government has really done a lot and has given us the opportunities on a silver platter. The other day I was looking at the uptake of the 30% initiative, and I'm really feeling sad, because when we go to the ground, we will still come back to, do we have the right, even the documents, to go for that 30%? And we have taken it upon ourselves to ensure that we tell the women, before you even say, mambo ni ya watu wengine, then you must ensure you have the right documentation to move forward. You know, you have to try, and not try just once. Ensure you try once, twice, and thrice. Then if it doesn't work and you think you're unfairly targeted, then make sure you report. So there are quite a number of issues that we need to first clear within us, iron out amongst ourselves. If the government has given us opportunity, let us rush and pick them. Let us make sure that these opportunities are utilized, because when you talk about 30% and only 20% or thereabout is taken, look at the AGOA market again. Since 2002, 10 years, now we are in 2016. 2002, we were given 10 years. That's 14 years. So we are only 6 years to go, and we have about 7,000 items to utilize. What are we doing about it as the common person? We can come together, because some of these issues that inhibit us from doing so is because of quality and quantity, you know. And
also the aspect of finance. Maybe you can touch on that, because that's an aspect that is very realistic when you're taking on business. You said try second, third, fourth, but when it comes to investing in those rounds, that's an aspect that many would not afford. But
that is why we need to exhaust whatever we have. If it is a Women Enterprise Fund, can we go for it? I was glad when the chair of the Women Enterprise Fund said the other day that the uptake for that is 90%. You know, so that's quite commendable. Though, how many have already reached out? Can we create circles you know, and groupings for women that can enable us reach us other markets, frontier markets and new markets. You know, let's not just think of ourselves like I can do it alone. You know, for me, I would be looking for somebody who I can partner with and even get a bigger investment other than just what I have been able to set up. And that's the focus. You know,
when you're looking at you're looking, sorry to interrupt you, when you're looking at women setting up these enterprises, you have managed to get to a point, you are now recognized at the very top of the hierarchy. Some of the leaders who are also well known here in Kenya recognize the effort that you've made. We've seen you have photos, and of course the viewers will get an opportunity to see some of the great things that you've done in relation to the photos that you have shared with us. You have met the greats, the heads of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. Yes, you have met and rubbed shoulders with the Deputy President, the President of Botswana, our representative at UNICTAD. You literally have rubbed shoulders with everybody who needs to be known when it comes to creating change. How does that work within your agenda of changing policies so that we can be able to create space for women wherever they are, be it in the urban areas, also in the rural areas, so that one, the national and the county governments are able to see the potential of the women right at the grassroots level?
I agree that has happened, and it's not been an easy ride for even to be next to any of them. And I can tell you we are still continuing to push, because since I took the chairperson Women in Business, I've been laying structures and ensuring and pinpointing the areas that we want to discuss with the government. We've really moved forward, like even speaking to the Gender Ministry to ensure that we are working together, and even the uptake for the 30% is really on the rise. That we have already taken up. We are already in the counties to ensure that even the women at the county knows what is happening. Then again, even if you're rubbing shoulders with the president or everybody else, as long as we have not taken what is already on the table first before you push another agenda, because we have to create the bottom-up approach other than just bombarding the leaders with a lot of information which is not true. So we have to do our groundwork first. For Botswana, I went in as a business person because I am an investor in my own right, and I would want to also stretch out to other countries. And it is also a sign of mentoring other women that it can be done. You know, you do not have to stay in Kenya and think that is just the best place. If you have already done your work in Kenya, then it is time you move to other areas. It's time you move to EAC. It's time you move to COMESA countries. It's time you move to SADC countries, you know, and even the EU or any other markets. Yes.
Maybe you can, before we touch on what tips you have for those who are interested in going into business, what support is presently there for SMEs? Because I know there's a very great support that is present at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. Maybe you can highlight to the viewers so that they can be able to be aware, so that it's not them just setting up businesses and not knowing whose hand to hold to move them from point A to point B.
Yes, we have a rallying call for the SMEs because we want them to have sustainable businesses at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And just to mention but a few, one of the key programs or tool that we are using or we are going to use in the future is the Empratech program that is hosted right now at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry from UNCTAD, which is a tool that is going to oversee or to see the SMEs and the women benefit in terms of skill building, in terms of sustainability of their businesses, and also venturing into the market. So if there is anybody out there who is an SME and you would want to have a platform whereby you can leverage on that, then the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is the best place to be. Yes.
Thank you so much for
joining.
And
we are also in partnership with other institutions. We are in partnership with UNDP. We are in partnership with a number of banking institutions to run on programs for young people, the women, and even credible business people. Like we already have the Chamber Enterprise group that meets regularly if you're a member.
Yeah.
So that is for the corporates.
Yeah.
You could also utilize that platform to ensure that you network with the right people. You ensure that your business is heard. You ensure that you're getting the right networks.
Your business is supported.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mary. Of course, we would be interested in continuing on to get a little bit more from you and your wisdom when it comes to the business environment, and especially for women out there who are intent on getting into business. But this is a conversation that has just begun with you, even as you're going to be paying a lot of attention to the efforts that you're going to be plowing to expand the space for women in business. That was our conversation here, highlighting the fact that there's a lot of space that is out there when it comes to ensuring that small and medium-sized businesses have support. The support is here. We've had the Director of Gender and National Chairperson of Women in Business, and she's also the Director in Central Kenya. When it comes to supporting women in business, she's the voice to listen to. She is the person to follow up on. There's an interesting platform that they have going on the social media platform. But of course, you need to dissect a little bit more on the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce so as to be able to know what exactly you need to get involved in so as to get support for your business and for your business to grow. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Beryl Oro, from the team and myself. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.